right, guys, so what we're going to do now, after looking at how that essay fits into the different criteria, we're going to look at a few ways to maybe improve this. Maybe you saw some ways yourself when you read the essay. Let's just talk about some of the errors within this essay and some tips on how to improve the language. Okay, so we're going to start with, so not every error is going to be covered here, but we're going to start with some of them, especially the most common ones. And we'll start down here with this, population explosion. And I'm just going to make a few comments on the side for you guys to see. So this really, this is used for special cases when when the population has increased very quickly. What could we put instead? We might say something like, there we are, significant increases in population levels. That's one possibility. Yeah. So again, guys, when you get up to these higher levels with grammar and vocabulary, you need to be more and more accurate with the phrases you use and the expressions you use. All right, so what we got here, can anybody see the grammar error here? So we've got the main noun, increase. What type of noun is it? Is it countable or uncountable? So we have increase as the noun. All right, it is countable. What do countable nouns need if they are singular? You need an article. So it would be this, etc. Yeah. All right, on to the next one. What about this? Can anyone see the error here? This is quite a common error. So when we use on, which you can see there, impacts negatively on, we need to use the noun phrase. So we would have it like this. Or if you want to use it with negatively, we could say it like this, negatively. Okay, so there you are. There's your two options for that. Next, what should we look at here? Here, this here is a little bit odd. So down to here, and I think what we will do is we will just I think that we, you know, here's an example of how we might rephrase this to make it better. And if we go down, we'll put this at the end. And how can we change that and make it a little bit better? So what would I write if it was me doing this essay? Let's put that up. Something like this, maybe if we want to rephrase it. Okay, and like I said there here, this sounds, the more people are born sounds a little bit strange. So we can change that to the higher the global birth rate. Yeah, and here run out, and we might change that to which can result in shortages. And why not give examples of those shortages as well? What are they? Be specific about when you give examples as well. Okay, so next, back to here. What else can we see here? Hopefully you recognize this one. Don't add an S to numbers, right? And that is the same with things like this as well. Don't write this. Sorry. Thousands, billions, millions. Don't put the S on here. Okay, so this is an S. It should be billion by itself with no S. All right, so there's some for that paragraph. Let's just continue on a little bit and have a look at this paragraph here and things like this. What can we use instead of each one? You could use everyone or everybody, but not each one. It's not really correct. Each person might be okay. Okay, also here, putting our hands to. Now you can see, we'll talk a little bit more about this in a minute, but you can see what the person's tried to do is paraphrase. Contribution, putting our hands to. Okay, but putting our hands to there doesn't really, it's not really a phrase and doesn't make sense. So why not change that? Let's change it to supporting instead. That'd be better. And here, using lands wiser and wiser. Again, that's incorrect. What should we put? We need to use more wisely, if you want to use that word wise. And here, another common mistake we see a lot of students making, day by day. We don't really use that. What can we use instead? On a daily basis. All right, so there's just some language ideas there. And remember, guys, whenever you write an essay, you should be rereading it after, looking for mistakes, trying to fix it, trying to look for common grammar mistakes, and try to get into that habit, because that is what you need to do to make your work more accurate. Okay. Finally, guys, what I just want to do is point out a couple of other features of this essay. Some good things, some bad things. And as you know, you want to try and avoid repetition and repeating the same vocabulary over and over again. And I'll just show you some examples here of where this writer has done that. You can see here, rapid increase. And here they've tried to, now I'm not saying it's always done accurately, but it's an attempt here. So you need to start thinking in the same way as well. And you can see India, 1.5 billion people, Indians. So it's a paraphrase, isn't it, to avoid repetition. And you can see here, we've got the same. We've got 1, 2, 3. Quality of air, air pollution. Stability of temperature, climate change. Health of soil, soil erosion. So a good attempt. Yeah, it's slightly inaccurate, but it's a good attempt. And that's why here, instead of contribution, putting our hands to. Okay, so remember, you need to try and do that as well, and not just repeat the same vocabulary all the way through. Let's move on to a couple other things we can talk about. You can see here, these words here I've highlighted. And you need to try and avoid this when you do writing. This is called speaking or writing in absolutes and not hedging. So here you can say, for example, will be overexploited. Will it 100% or will it probably be? Okay, and here, never enough. You know, that's too strong, isn't it? Never, we can't say it's never because it's not true. So you need to be careful. Here, things like everywhere, which leads to, you know, which can lead to, nothing can be changed. That's a bit strong. This language is a bit strong. So usually we get around that by using probably, usually, can, could, may, might, and other words there just to soften it and make it less definite. Okay, so be aware of that when you write as well. Finally, we're looking at these linking words here. All right. And you can see there, I've just highlighted. So, all right, there's a range. This one here, by the way, we might say is not really correct. Yeah, not correct. We don't use that at the beginning of a sentence. Yeah, so just be aware of that. But the reason I've highlighted these is you can see, yes, there's a range. The writer doesn't use the same ones, but nearly all of these are at the beginning of sentences. And nearly all of them are these type with the ly on the end. Okay, you know, it's not wrong, but just it's always good to vary the way you do it. And I've just taken a couple of examples of how you could do that down here, which you can see at the bottom. Like I said, most are at the beginning of the sentence and most are ly adverbs. How can we change it? You've got the original one here. There we go. Just change the order there. Okay, and that will just vary it a little bit, make it less repetitive, and change the word. Instead of the ly we've got here as a result, it means the same thing, but it's just showing a bit more range and a little bit less repetition. Okay, so just a few other things there for you to think about when you are using linking words. Okay.